so directly effective and costing of your team. To me, that is a big thing that some people are overlooking. It's not like this team came up with the reputation of, hey, man, this is why the Indians got this guy cheap, because he can't field the ball. It's not like the Indians fielded a team, like you joke about Major League and how they tried to put together a team to lose. It's not like they said, well, we could spend $100,000 more on another guy that would catch the ball, but we're going to save $100,000 and get this guy. That has nothing to do with it. You could say that's, what I mean?
No, absolutely not. You're absolutely right, Big Daddy.
I mean, that one there drives me nuts, because who in the world predicted that they would lead them? And how can you hold a front office accountable? Now, if these were all bad defensive players, you could go, man, this is going to be a bad defensive season. We don't got anybody that can catch the ball. But they all played below average defensively, Meanwhile, offensively, I don't need an offense. This doesn't have to be the 95 Indians. And, brother, in 2014, the 95 Indians don't exist in today's baseball. The Tigers lineup is as close as you're going to get to it. A couple of the other powerful lineups in baseball, and those are very, very, very expensive, very cost-prohibitive.
And we had speed. Together. Speed kills. This Indian team has speed, but unfortunately, Mr. Terry Francona just doesn't like to run too much. There's a lot of situations. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be criticizing us young Indians like this, but there's a heck of a lot of situations this year. You know me, I watch my Indian ball, my young Indian ball. We could have ran 95% more than Terry put out there. But anyway, everything that we need is right down in our farm system that I want to see be right near the top in July of 2016.
The one thing that's not in our farm system is in Detroit, and his name is Victor Martinez, and that is the one piece that could put this whole thing together. If there was one guy, if you said, Jerry, make one move in the offseason, you're allowed to wave the wand. That's it. I'll figure out how to make the rest
hitter.
One of
the greatest switch hitters.
I'll tell you what.
And unfortunately, he was a young Indian, you know what I mean? And
I know, but I'll tell you what.
To see him go to the Red Sox.
Yesterday we got off the air, right?
That's down the road. That's down the road. And we're going to be on top of that AL Central next year.
All right, Big Bob, I got to go.
We're on top of that AL Central next year. That's all I got to say.
All right, you have a good one. We love you, man.
Hey, listen. I called that game last night. I said 33-20. It is always good for the big Cleveland Brown, biggest fan here in New England, to see Bill Belichick lose. I don't care what team he's with, the Pats, the Jets, whatever. It's just good to see him lose. And it was great last night.
All right, Big Bob. Right? Great phone call.
Hey, listen, you guys stay dry.
You too, my man. It's that time of year.
We got rain coming
out the wazoo.
Bye-bye.
All right. Big Bob, my man. And, I'll talk about it on the other side of this when Jeff Gorman joins us. We'll keep the Indians talk going. Don't forget, Dr. Football Bill Chachkes is coming up in just about 20 minutes. Doug Plagens, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, just about 60 minutes from now, coming to you live from Monsters training camp. But I'll pick this up on the other side. But I noticed yesterday, was it Hoynesy? One of the plain dealer guys writing about the Indians brought up Victor Martinez. It was right after we went off the air. I cracked open the paper, and sure enough, we had just spent however long yesterday talking about Victor, and Dan Wismar and I were having a good conversation about him. And the first thing I read is Victor Martinez isn't coming to Cleveland because the Indians have Nick Swisher and Carlos Santana, and they've got too many people in the same position. Let me tell you something. If Victor Martinez wants to come to Cleveland, if he and his agents make it clear to me that he's interested in coming to Cleveland, Nick Swisher and Carlos Santana, and I love Santana. I'm not saying get rid of him. What I'm saying is they don't stop me. That doesn't stop me from signing. He said it so point blank, like, well, you could just forget it. And I listen, if he wants to come play here and he doesn't want $20 million a year or whatever, I'll figure out what to do. Nick Swisher's not bringing anything to this team next year. Now, that's the one place that I completely disagree with the front office is, once again, they're going to come into next season expecting something out of Nick Swisher. I don't think you can plan 2015 around more than 10 home runs and maybe 40 or 50 RBIs from Nick Swisher. So if you want to add his contribution, there it is. That's what you can add, what you're going to get there from Nick Swisher. Don't pencil in 20, 25 home runs. Don't pencil in 70, 80, 90 RBIs because you're going to fall short. Now, there's a difference between what I just said about Nick Swisher and Jason Kipnis. You'd better pencil Jason Kipnis in for hitting 265, 270, for coming in and being the Jason Kipnis that you just signed to a long-term extension, because if you didn't, that's something else. I do think you expect to bounce back from him. From Swisher, you take what you can get and you plan around him. But yeah, if Victor Martinez tells me he wants to come to Cleveland, there's not a chance in hell that I'm letting Nick Swisher and Carlos Santana in the same position bother me. I will figure it. Hey, we moved Santana to third once. I'll figure something out. And Nick Swisher doesn't even register in the conversation to me, but that's something else. We'll pick that up on the other side of the break with Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. As I said, Dr. Football Bill Chachkes, Doug Plagens, live from Lake Erie Monsters camp, coming your way. But next, Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com, talking Tribe, Major League Baseball playoffs, wild card, and so much more coming up next.
The Sports Fix, the show that asks the question,
what you talking about, Will? What you talking about, Will? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Will? What you talking about? What you talking about, Will? What you talking about? What you talking about, Will?
We'll be right back.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you. Whether you're a small business that's already been established and you're looking to grow to that next level and expand your business, or perhaps you've got an idea that you just know is going to be a great business and you need to figure out how to brand it and how to promote it and put it out there, Signs and Ship is the place for you. If you need a logo, they can create one for you. They have a fantastic graphic designer. Business cards, signs, banners, yard signs, mobile advertising, anything you can think of that you need to promote your business, they've got it at Signs and Ship. The best thing about them, too, is each of their locations, whether it's the home base here in Elyria, Ohio that I work with, or their spots in Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, it's all local sourced. Very important to me because we all understand that small business is the lifeblood of the community. So check them out, signsandship.com, or call Chris and Pam today, 440-323-6060, the home office in Elyria, Ohio. Signs and Ship, quality printing at affordable prices.
You're listening to The Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Football season is party season at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. Everyone wins at Harry Buffalo. Every Saturday is Coors Light College Football Saturday with $6 pitchers, 4 bottles for $10, and the Buckeyes in full HD. Football season is most definitely party season, and your headquarters is Harry Buffalo North Olmsted all winter long. Harry Buffalo, join the herd. Sports Fix listeners, like us on Facebook today. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Have you gotten your copy of Cleveland's Finest yet? Highlighting the best moments, players, and media members in Cleveland sports history? In-depth personal interviews with some of the top names in Cleveland sports fill the pages of this incredible book. Cleveland's Finest by Vince McKee is this year's must-have book for every Cleveland sports fan. Available now at Amazon.com. Get your copy today.
Hello, Cleveland. This is WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley, and you are listening to The Sports Fix. Yeah!
Fire with everyone, Indian Fever. You can be part of the fun. You're the winner at every game. That's That's when the excitement begins. So catch Indian fever, be a believer with the Cleveland Indians.
Gotta whistle along. I had to play a little Indians Fever. I haven't heard that in about a week, so I figured I'd fire that up. Jeff Gorman getting ready to join us here on the Sports Fix. Welcome back, you guys. J-Rock back with you here, and as I said, Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com is going to be on the phone lines with us in just a moment. We're talking Tribe, as you hear in the background, so don't go anywhere. If you're looking for Dr. Football, my man Bill Chachkes will be here. In the next segment, Doug Plagens, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, just 60 minutes from now, coming your way live from the kickoff of Lake Erie Monsters training camp today. Whole lot still to come. As I said, though, coming up next, Jeff Gorman. We're talking some Tribe here. You can't call since Jeff's on the hotline. Blame him. Tweet with him. Yell at him. Tell him get off the phone. Or you can hit us up on Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix, CLE. Email us, The Sports Fix at AOL.com. Going to the phones, Jeff Gorman. How you doing, my man?
I'm the one to blame. I'm doing fine. Great to be with you, J-Rock. You know, it's always fun to talk about the Indians, always fun to talk about the baseball playoffs. A very exciting time. Unfortunately, we can't talk about them at the same time. You know, we both picked them to make the playoffs, but they just fell a little bit short. And you got to give this team and their manager credit because under normal circumstances, they would have fallen a lot short. And it really looked like they were going to fall a lot short. But, you know, they battled all the way down to the end, and they made it about as respectable as they could.
Yeah, you know, what you just said at the end there, that's the part that sticks in my craw a little bit as I look at how this ended, because of the fact that it looked like it looked like, you know, it could be worse. And then it's easy. You know, you finish 10 games back at 85 wins. You're like, wow, okay, now we see the work that's got to be left to be done. What stuck in my craw kind of over the weekend, as I said this yesterday, was the fact that, and it just works out this way, and especially in hindsight, it's easy to look at it, but I mentioned that all those things when we talked for the last few weeks, and basically starting with that 30-game run pretty much, where we said, and we kept doing they can lose no more games than this, and if this, that, and this happens, and if this team loses 17 of 30, and if this team, but in hindsight, 90% of that stuff happened. 90% of the things that we said needed to happen down the stretch for the Indians to salvage the season and end up making the playoffs improbably, it all happened. And it more than what we wanted happened. Not only did they stay within striking distance of Detroit and Kansas City, but Oakland stumbled. And we're going to, of course, I'm sure we'll talk about them in a minute, but they free-falled back down to the pack. And you know what I mean? Like, everybody did what they need. When you said, man, we need this team to lose all week, they lost all week, you know? I mean, Oakland, and I was joking. I said, look, you realize that for this thing to work out, they will have had to have lost 9 games to end the season, because they were on a 6-game losing streak heading into Friday night's game for the A's. I mean, they would have had to. That I'm like, man, that's I don't see them going that cold. So I knew we were up against the odds. But when you look at how all that other stuff happened, that's where I go, damn, we could have snuck in there, even though we may not have even deserved to be there. But it was all right there for you, and you don't want that to happen again. And I think that feeling is going to work in the front office's favor better than the way they came out of last season, because the way they came out of last season, you're feeling good, everything went your way, so you kind of get a little bit of, I don't know, ego going, because you got the magic touch, you know? You're like, man, this worked, I waved a magic wand here, and that guy worked, and then this guy, and that, and you kind of had a I don't want to say false sense of security. It's not like the Indians didn't win 85 games this year, so there was some truth to how they were feeling. But the end of the season was so good and so positive that it masked some of the issues into the offseason. And, you know, obviously we talked about, we know how the season got to where it did. Coming out of this season, coming so close and falling short, I almost think that one sticks with you more and makes you go, man, I got to be that close. It's one thing if we're 10, 15 games back. We got a lot of work to do. When we're right there, let's go make it happen. And I'm hoping that that's the way this front office feels, even though yesterday they had to have exasperated some Tribe fans when they said a lot of the same things that they said at